So yesterday, Andrew Neil was ecstatic about the Daily Mail, the hard work of Daily Mail, old-fashioned Fleet Street scoop, and all the more worthy of the title because it wasn't handed over on a plate by a whistleblower, but was the result of some hard graft journalism by the Daily Mail's formidable investigative team. Well, all they had to do was to know people who had been involved in the asylum issues over the years. I saw exactly the same issues with dodgy lawyers trying to not trying to cheat the system, but simply trying to avoid doing any hard work. So lazy lawyers, really, rather than lefty lawyers. And in my particular case, I have evidence of lawyers offering asylum and refugee deals should the victim, should the migrant claim to be HIV positive. These were lawyers working for the Greek Helsinki Monitor and working for Amnesty International. And I did report these things upwards, but Amnesty was a bit sort of hoity-toity and wasn't very interested, and the Greek Helsinki Monitor was infiltrated from bottom to top. And indeed, on that occasion, I and some migrants were taken to a hospital to be monitored and to be tested, and I was horrified. And the conversations that were taking place between me and the migrants was in English. They were in English, but the conversations which were happening between the lawyers and the doctors were in Greek. And regrettably, because I could speak Greek, I overheard these conversations quite clearly, so I understood what was going on, and I was incandescent in much the same way as some of these old-fashioned Fleet Street journalists investigating must have been when they discovered that the lawyers were lazy and had found a trick, a hole in the system, so they didn't really need to bother finding out what the actual stories of these migrants were. Now, I'd found out the actual stories. And so this is an old problem that simply reared its head, and it's great that the Daily Mail should have covered it. But the pictures in the newspaper lead with top bank lied over Farage ban, and Andrew Neil doesn't say anything about that. His story does not link to the pictures which the Mail is promoting. The pictures and also the Chemi Signs trade deal. BBC can't wait to talk it down. That isn't there either. So it's a very disingenuous and lazy article by Andrew Neil. Or at least the layout is lazy. And the one thing that the Daily Mail doesn't cover is the Wootton story. Why? Because it's one of their own. So I think there's I think there are blinkers on rather than lazy journalism in the Daily Mail, and that's a bit of a shame because the Daily Mail plays an important role in our... You're being very noisy. Plays an important role in our national life. So Andrew Neil is crowing over something that he doesn't quite have control over, but there we are. Nice to see him. Nice to see him functioning.